Hello, am I audible? Good evening, all. My name is Abhishek, and I welcome you all for this evening for a webinar on USMLE and everything under the sky of USMLE. First of all, let me start with an apology for technical delay for about 10 minutes, but I hope I'm audible to everyone. And if I'm audible, maybe you can just acknowledge by giving some kind of either a thumbs up or yes, okay, sure, whatever. So I know I'm audible, and then we can start. Hello? Great. Fine, thank you. At last, I'm audible. Great, fantastic. So, my name is Abhishek, and let's begin with the session for the evening without wasting further time. I would just like to understand what audience am I speaking with, or I'm talking to, because USML is one such size which does not fit all. So if I know, are you a first year student or second year, third year, final year, or an intern student, based on which I can try and help you draw a time plan, study plan for you in my entire session, so it will give you a very clear cut idea. So in the chat box, can you quickly tell me which year of medicine are you studying in currently, so I have a general idea about it. We just wait for about 10-15 seconds for you guys to reply. Okay, Pradeep is saying second year. Meghna Reddy, second year, first years. All right. Great. Okay. So looking at this, it looks like most of you are paramedical students, first years and second years. Of course, there are some final year students and interns as well, but most of you are like first years and second years is what I know. Now that I know whom I'm speaking with, and what exactly is your expectations from this webinar, I'll try my level best to make this as fruitful as I can, so as to ensure that you have the best of USMLE webinar that you are investing your time in this at this point in time. Having said that, first thing first, I would like to give everyone a free copy of the Kaplan's Med Essentials ebook. All you have to do is just make a note of this particular link, a short link, which is bit.ly/logicquest.me, which is Med Essentials. Make a note of this in your free time. Just go ahead and register on this particular link. Within 24 to 48 hours, you will have a free ebook in your Kaplan accounts. All right, there's no cost whatsoever. Now you might think, what is this Med Essentials ebook all about? If you've heard the book, which is first aid book, this is the Kaplan's version of the first aid, which is the Med Essentials ebook. So in your free time after this session, you can just go ahead and register, and we will have this book. I'm pretty sure it is going to help you with your MBBS as well as your USMLE prep if you have already begun. I'm sure on that. Right, now let's start with why US. Why are we looking at US, since most of you are like first years and second years? What is USMLE? Why US? These questions, I am sure they would be cropping up in your mind again and again. And if you're not sure as to should I get into the US or not, let's start with some basics of US. Now, if I have to give you an example that if you were to do your MD or MS in India after you've given your next examination, which will be starting in 2022 or 23 this year, if you were to do that, what is the kind of costs that one is going to bear? Right now we all know it's going to be in lakhs, and if you're planning for a management quota or a paid seat, it's definitely going to be in crores. So in either of the case, it is definitely going to be a cumbersome process. Only a very few, handful of students are going to have get lucky into government seats where your cost is going to be slightly lower, but it's definitely not going to be as low as one might even expect. Secondly, let's look at our opportunity, that what is the percentage or ratio of we getting placed into one of the Indian medical schools for our post graduation program, irrespective of your specialty. Now, as of now, if I have to give you the proven facts, you just go back after this session, Google out, do all the kind of R&D you can. Challengingly, I can tell you the ratio of getting sucked into one of the post graduation programs in India is 1:8 or 1:10 as well. It's in that range. So after every 10 students or after every 8 students, one doctor is getting sucked into the program in India, right? And moreover, you all know that, as of now, everyone who has given NEET or planning to give NEET this year, you also have to ensure that if you get into the post graduation program, that's fine. If you don't get to, again you have to study for one full year and again appear for the exam next year, and try out your luck. So all these things really makes cumbersome. Now, if last year we had almost about 1,82,000 and some change candidates who appeared for the NEET PG examination, out of which there were mixture of everyone, like freshers who intended to appear last year, then there were those people who could not clear last year, and those people who also could not clear last year. So this keeps on adding up and piling up, because they eventually have to get sucked somewhere. So people keep on trying. After 2 or 3 attempts, people really get frustrated and they leave, which is not a healthy sign. And we want, for all the viewers who are watching us right now, we want that you should not be getting into these kind of situations, which is why your first attempt has to be the best attempt. And I'm really glad that most of the audience who are listening to me right now are first years and second years, most of you, which means you have ample time to at least make your decisions. I'm not saying go to the US, I'm not saying stay back in India, that's your choice. But as a mentor, I can certainly guide you and tell you the pros and cons, and then you can decide what you have to do ahead, depending on how your plans would shape up. Now, if you have to look at the US perspective, why are we looking at US or even Usmle as a topic, is because, first of all, in the US there is no concept of something called as tuition fees, the PG education in US. Now, what we call PG education, the US people call it as residency. So the residency in the US is 100% free. It is 100% sponsored by the federal government of US. Yes, for those you've heard me for the first time who didn't knew about this, you have heard it right. It is 100% free. It is 100% sponsored. Now, second aspect why you should consider the US is the total number of seats. Now, we've just discussed last year we had about close to 2 lakhs. That's about 1,82,000 and some change total of candidates. So that means you are going to compete with so many lakh students. Now you need to imagine where would you stand in the entire competition. There is a possibility you've cleared NEET or even next for that matter, but your rank is not as high, right? So again, in that case, you may have to repeat your examinations, and once next comes, all of us are equally in dark as to how the system is going to work in the near future. But even if I have to consider as of today, it is the NEET PG examination, and the situation in India is really horrifying. Now, similarly, if I have to compare that with the US, the total number of seats in the US are way higher in terms of the percentage of acceptance for the international medical graduates, right? And also on your screen, if you can see, this is a screenshot taken from the official website of the AAMC, which stands for the Association of American Medical Colleges, which says that research shows a shortage of more than 1 lakh doctors by 2030, right? Which means that they are desperately in need of candidates, irrespective local or international, but they definitely do need candidates. So you know that this is one of the destinations that you can certainly look. It's like a barren land. You can just go and start looking out for your own venture. So US is a destination for you. But you might also observe that this particular website was updated or created or whatever you call it as on the 14th of March 2017. Now you might think this is like almost a 3 years old news. Tell me what is something new, right? Now the same website was updated last year, April 23rd, 2019. Thereafter there has been not any updates, but maybe early 2021 we may expect some updates in this. But again, even if I have to consider the latest update on their website, it says now the same 1 lakh physicians or doctors has now increased to 1,22,000 physicians by the year 2032 is the prediction shortage that they are expecting, which means the demand in the US for doctors, physicians, healthcare specialists, surgeons is increasing year on year. So now you know where you're exactly supposed to invest your time, energy, and money in order to ensure that you do not fall into one of those where you have a tough luck on. Now you know now that okay, fine, you don't have to pay anything. Yeah, in fact, there are a lot of seats which are available. There is a lot of shortage which you are expecting. Next thing is, okay, fine, you might think, so everything is fine, but how do we survive there for 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, depending on the specialty? Great. So let me also add one thing to it. You do not have to be a burden on your parents while your residency years, because the federal government of US has also made that provision for you where they will provide students with a stipend, and a stipend of nothing less than almost about 60,000 US dollars per annum. Now if you just divide it by 12 months, that's about $5,000 per month. That's what you earn towards your stipends right from day one of your residency. Now while you are there, okay, 3.5 lakh rupees per month is what you're going to get, boss. Let's make it as simple as that for those who are like just busy with their calculators trying to multiply dollar it by 75 rupees. You see, so it's straight 3,50,000 rupees per month just for towards your stipends. Now we're not even talking about your salaries that you're going to earn later on. We will have a look at it soon once we progress in this particular presentation. Now today, in short, what we are going to cover is why obtain medical licensure in the US. Now half of it we've already discussed. We will also see some more aspects to it in the coming few minutes. Then application process and timelines, that is what I'm going to discuss with you. Understanding the Usmle examination, because that's the heart of your entire application to the US hospitals. Study plan strategies, how do you plan your studies, how to what are the strategies, etc. That's what you will be going through. And finally, tips to increase your odds that you're going to overcome in the entire journey. And finally, how Kaplan can help. This is what we are going to see today in our today's presentation. So starting off with, now we were just talking about the compensation. Now during your 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of your residency, depending on the specialty of your choice, I told you your compensation is about 3.5 lakh rupees per month towards your stipends. Fast forward 3 years, let's say you are an internal medicine doctor out there in the US, and if you were to start working in the US, what is going to be your average salaries? No matter you're pediatrics or internal medicine, more or less the the range would remain the same. Now if you see on your if you check on your screen, the bottom second last compensation for an average pediatrician in the US is about 212,000 US dollars. So if you just multiply that by 75 rupees, that's going to be roughly around 1 crore 48 lakhs 40,000. That's going to be your average annual salary or compensation, whatever you call it as. If you're interested in internal medicine, the same would rise slightly higher. I told you it's more or less in the same range. That is going to be about 1 crore 61 lakh rupees for an internal medicine. You jump slightly higher, you want to be a surgeon. Let's say you want to be a surgeon in the US. That's going to be around 2 crores 25 lakhs 40,000 rupees. That's an average compensation which an surgeon earns in the US. And if you're interested in something more dashing and more competitive in nature, which is plastic surgery, that straight away amounts to 3 crores 50 lakhs 70,000 rupees. That's like the topmost thing which doctors, surgeons, physicians would earn in the US. Now, just try and go back 5 years, 10 years, 20 years back. Try to check with the topmost surgeons of your city. You would see these figures are nowhere close to what these people earn. Now again, it's nothing to do with them, and with all due respect, I have no intentions to get into a comparison mode, but I'm just trying to show you by and large a kind of picture what India as a country as a potential can fetch you, and US as a country as a potential can fetch you. These are two average contrary figures which are there. One is as a fact in front of you, and one is it's right there on your screen. And if you think these numbers on your screen are tailored or they are fake or something like that, you are more than welcome to visit the official website, which is the nrmp.org, which is the National Residency Matching Program. This is the official website of the US Residency Matching Program, and from their website this particular screenshot of compensation has been taken. So since it's official in nature, obviously nothing is tailored, nothing is fabricated, it is the actual figures which these doctors in the US are earning. And if you think, yes, this is something stimulating and I want to be one of them in the near future, I guess you have landed at the right presentation, and that's what we are here to discuss about. So let's quickly start and understand what are we going to have a look at today. Today we are going to discuss 4 important components of getting into the US. We can say 4 pillars of getting into the US. Unless and until you know these 4 pillars, these 4 components, getting into the US would be slightly difficult because everything is interlinked and interdependent. So please listen to this carefully. First and foremost, we're going to have a look at what is the USMLE examinations, because that's the only thing that you know, that there is some exam called as USMLE, but most of us don't know the the details of the examination, when to take, how to take, what are the details, what to expect, what not to expect, all those things. Second is the Ecfmg, or the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduate. If you were to appear for the exam, whom do you approach, how do you book the exam, how often is the exam conducted, etc. All of those would be discussed under the Ecfmg. ERAS is the application system, how do you apply to the US universities. And finally the NRMP, that's the National Residency Matching Program, which is an official body who's playing a very important role in in the application process or the matching process. Now what is matching and how is the applications done, we will have a look at it very soon in this presentation itself. So first thing first, let's try and understand the navigation process of the application. How do you navigate? Where do you start from? There on, where do you jump into, etc., etc., etc. Right now, USMLE examinations, I will cover that topic towards the end because that's like a vast topic. Before which, let's cover up the small topics so that it's easy for us to understand. So fast forward, let's say you've taken all the USMLE exam, you've done the USMLE preparation, and now you want to appear for the USMLE examination. What do you do, and where do you approach? So there is an official body which is called as the Ecfmg, which is the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduate, and this particular body is responsible to ensure that any student who appears for a US examination called as the USMLE is eligible, and they are also doing the filtration process of no ineligible candidates should be entering into the examination, because many such things would happen. Sitting in the US, it is difficult for them to control the authenticity of a particular candidate, which is why the Ecfmg acts as a filter between the US and the student end. So the basic criteria or the eligibility for any student on this planet to appear for the USMLE examination is, has the student completed the minimum requirement of completion of basic sciences, which is your completion of first year and second year of your MBBS. So most of you are in first year and second year, which is why in the beginning I told you, yes, most of you are in a good shape right now, because you are in the first years and second years, and since the USMLE step 1 syllabus is all about first years and second years, so you can parallelly start studying for that, and that is how it will save you time, and it will also ensure a better accuracy over you starting it towards the end of your MBBS. So which is why the Easter years are the best years if one has to ensure a good score for your USMLEs. Second thing is the medical school that the student is representing, is that registered in the World Directory of Medical Schools. Now, your medical school, unless and until it is registered with the World Directory, you won't be eligible to appear for the USMLE examination. What you could do is you can just go to www.wdoms, which is the World Directory of Medical Schools, wdoms.org. You can just go to this particular website, click on the search bar and enter your college details, and you can just check for yourself whether your college is registered or not. Do ensure to go to the last tab, and there's a sponsor notes. Ensure that it is filled. If it is empty, you may not be eligible, or rather you are not eligible. But if it is filled, you're definitely eligible to appear for the USMLE examinations, subject to completion of second year of MBBS, right? And if you're still not able to find your college, you can feel free to give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to assist you to find out whether your college participates in the World Directory of Medical Schools or not. Right. So now that you've completed your third year, your college is registered, you're supposed to go to the ecfmg.org website and fill out the form. Now, I will not go into the details of how to fill the form, because there's already on my YouTube channel, there's already an in-depth descriptive webinar that we had conducted recently on how to fill the form. So you can just go to my YouTube channel and search for the Ecfmg webinar. I'm sure you would love it, where every particular screen is captured, every particular field, what to fill, what to fill, what not to fill, everything is explained over here. You can just go out and check that video. Now, you filled out the form, you've signed up, you have a username, password. Now the registration for Ecfmg is, first you do the authenticity, which is called as certification of identification. You're supposed to fill a form 186. The US notary will verify your passport details, your other details, and that is you only as a person, and it's not someone else. After everything is checked, you again log into the Ecfmg website, and then you start filling out the USMLE step 1 application form. You fill in all basic details. Again, you can refer to the Ecfmg webinar video that I spoke about. You will get to know all those details. You fill up the form. Now, when you're filling out this form, you are ideally expected to select a 3 months of a period, which is called as an eligibility period. Now, eligibility period means that you can take exam only within those 3 months. We are not talking about a date right now. We're just talking about a period. Period is always for a period of 3 months. So let's say, for example, I want to take an exam because this year was very bad, COVID came, and it really screwed up many things. So I don't want to give an appear this year. Let's say I want to appear sometime next year, and let's say I want to appear in the month of March of 2021. I'm just giving a hypothetical example. So in that case, while I am filling out the form, I have several options, and the options be like Jan, Feb, March, where March is covered, Feb, March, April, where March is covered, March, April, May, where May is covered. So I know that tentatively I have to give it in March, but I'm not sure when. You can fill any time. Now, if you're sure that you're not going to give the exam before March, I would practically recommend that you can just select March, April, May, so that even if you're not sure and you want to push your plans by 15-20 days, 1 month, still you are eligible to give the exam anytime between March, April and May. Now you filled up the form, you send it to Ecfmg send that form back to your college, all the verification has been done, and now you get the scheduling permit. Scheduling permit is like about 12 digits of a code where you get that, and then once you have that, you just go to the Prometric Center's website, enter that code over there. You have a calendar of March, April, May. Select one of the days out of the 90 days and submit. I guess your job is done. You just take a printout of the confirmation along with your original passport, go to the exam hall, and that's how you do. So in a nutshell, if I have to explain you about Ecfmg is nothing but ensuring that only valid students would be attempting the exam. Anyone, let's say, you've cleared your second year, but there was a backlog in microbiology. So those kind of students are not eligible unless and until you clear your backlogs. So who is going to check that? Ecfmg is going to check that. Your passport name, everything is matching, only then you're allowed, otherwise you're not allowed. So these kind of filtration things is being taken care by the Ecfmg, right? So they will issue you the permission to appear for the exam. They are also the ones who are going to verify your medical degree, whether you have completed second year. They are the ones who are going to check whether your college is registered or not. They are the ones who will also help you to allow you to appear for the exam for the step 2 CK and step 2 CS exam as well. After these 3 examinations are done, finally you receive the Ecfmg certification. Certification is nothing but that, boss, I have completed all the 3 steps. That is a stamp on your profile which says that I'm done with all the 3 examinations. So in a nutshell, that's all about Ecfmg. There's nothing much that can be discussed, nor do I intend to discuss more further about Ecfmg. It's a body through which you're supposed to appear for the exam. Even if you remember this much, that's more than sufficient. Let's not get into the details or crux about Ecfmg at this stage. Let's focus on the other areas which are way important than understanding Ecfmg in depth. Now the next thing is ERAS. Now let's assume you've, through the Ecfmg, you have completed your step 1, step 2 CK and step 2 CS examinations, which are mandatory in nature. You've completed all 3, you've got Ecfmg certified. Now it's time for you to send across your applications. Applications will be sent through ERAS only. What is ERAS? ERAS is nothing but an electronic medium of sending across your applications. Now these days everything is electronic. Even your MBBS classes have also become electronic in nature. I assume you're sitting at home and attending your online lectures of MBBS. Similarly, sending across your applications to the US is also electronic in nature. So you go to the ERAS website and you are supposed to log in, and then what you're supposed to do is the ERAS will open up in September. Now the applications for any residency will always be sent in the month of September, and to be more specific, it is going to be between 1st September to the 15th of September. Now between these 15 days you're supposed to send across your applications, and for those 15 days what happens is you're supposed to take tokens. Tokens meaning I'm going to register this year, I'm going to send my applications this year, so you're supposed to obtain those tokens in the month of June. So practically people who are going to apply this year, last month they have already taken tokens. Now that by 15th of June you normally take the tokens, and then 1st of September you're supposed to send across your applications. So the window of ERAS will open between 1st September and it will close on the 15th of September. So between these 15 days you're supposed to send across your applications. A few documents are mentioned on the screen over here which you'll be sending, but these are not the only ones, rather these are the most important ones. There are like small petty documents as well. So you upload all these documents on your ERAS portal, and at one click which says send or enter whatever, at one particular click your applications are shot across to various locations in the US. So what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to go ahead and upload all the names of the universities or hospitals that you intend to send your application to, along with the specialty. Like, okay, fine, University of Cincinnati, I want to get into internal medicine. University of, let's say New York, I want to get into pediatrics. Or everything can be same specialty, or you could have different specialties. That's your choice. But let me warn you over here, like India, if you apply for surgery, they say, okay, fine, surgery is not possible, I can give you medicine. Then you have no choice, then you take it. But in the US, that doesn't happen. So if you're applying for surgery, you either get a surgery or you don't get a surgery. You're applying for pediatrics, you either get a pediatrics or you don't get pediatrics. But you're not given to you're not passed on to a different specialty for sure. Alright, so remember these things, and after 15th of September, your job is done. That's when the US people will start looking into your applications one by one, And now what happens? They start looking at your application. When your application is sent, out of all these parameters or documents, what is the most important thing do you think that they look into? Is that the work experience? Because most of the people that I have seen, they start running behind the clinical rotations or CV and things like that. If you think CV is the most important thing, I would rather, so I'm sorry to say, but you're wrong. The most important thing that they see is your USMLE. Scores, and just the scores is what they look into. If you qualify the scores, you're in. If you don't, then tough luck, maybe you can try somewhere else. So USMLE is the heart of your application. If I have to rank your the order of how they handle your application, it is a proven fact that the first cut would go to the USMLE scores. After they have, out of thousands of applications that they've received, now they will select the best of best, cream of cream students, which may be merely in hundreds. Now they would start looking into their application in depth. So first filter is what you have cleared, which is the USMLE scores. Next is the quality of application package. And now your application package will be now looked into in depth. So what all extra qualities do you possess or that you carry? So let's say your quality of application package would also consist of letters of recommendation. Now if you have done some project or you've got some letters of recommendation from your dean of your MBBS college here, please do get that. Get letters of recommendation from the HOD, get that, but don't try to get it in the first year or second year, because there's a date mentioned, and if you try to take it in 2020, 21 and try to apply in 2024 or 25, it's going to be a stale old letter. So don't do it now. Take it at the last minute in the same year when you intend to apply. Now while you're going to the US for your step 2 CS, we recommend that you do a couple of months of hands-on clinical rotations in the US, right? And that will also fetch you a couple of more letters of recommendation. So this letter of recommendation is very important, which will make your profile more valid, more rich, that people can actually look upon as an overall profile. Then the medical school grades, achievements, extracurricular activities, all of those would now be looked into, right? The third cut will now go to the interview. So let's say from hundreds of cream of cream students that I had, now you qualified these scores, but overall your presentation wasn't that great, it wasn't impressive, and it wasn't even I would say your presentation or grammatical mistakes, or it could be any damn thing, because the total number of seats that I have are a double digit figure at the most, or maybe a single digit figure, but I have received like a 4-digit figure application, so I have to eventually get it down. So obviously the moment I find a mistake, you're definitely going to be out of the league. So you have to be very careful when you're presenting. The presentation equally matters a lot. Now let's say I still have about a triple digit figure with me who are the best of best in terms of scores as well as application package, which come what may, I cannot avoid them, I cannot reject them. So what do I do next? I simply call them down for a face-to-face interview to the US. Yes, my friends, that's when you will have to go to the US and appear for a face-to-face interview, and they might ask you a lot many questions in all different angles. You can again there is a separate almost about 1.5 hour of a session where I've covered in one of my YouTube videos what are the type of questions and how do you answer those, what questions should you expect. You can just go to my YouTube channel as well, you will find that video over there, because I don't want to distract this particular topic and get into the interview mode to explain you what type of questions. But if you're really interested and keen to know more, you can watch that video, and I guess that should play the trick over there. Apart from that, then you will also have those kind of questions that they would ask you, depending on how you crack those, depending on how you are supposed to how you impress your program director, based on which they will make some particular I wouldn't really call it as an assumption, but yeah, an overall they will make a yes or a no about you, and based on which then they will shortlist the candidates. Now in the month of now that you have already sent across your applications in the month of September, somewhere around November, December usually is when you're expected to go to the US and appear for your interviews. Now February next year is when you're expected to rank the universities based on your preferences. That okay boss, I went to the US, I appeared for interviews at these 10 places, and based on my preferences, University A is my choice 1, University C is my choice 2, University F is my choice 3, University H or whatever J is my choice 4. So likewise you will give them the rankings or preferences. Now when you are interviewed, even the program director has given you some ranks based on his preferences and your performance during the interview. He might say, you know what, this particular candidate, I guess he's my second best choice, this particular candidate is my first best choice. So he will give ranks to the candidates. Now your rankings of the universities and his rankings of the candidates, both of these rankings are submitted to a third party body which is called as the NRMP. This is what we discussed some time back, the National Residency Matching Program. So the NRMP is the deciding body. He will take data from both the parties. One is from the program directors or the universities and other is from the candidates. NRMP will feed that data into the computers, and the computers are algorithmed in such a fashion where the computers will automatically assign a particular student against a particular university, and my friends, that's the place where you get your residency. Remember one thing, you do not have a choice to change your hospital later, because as it is, people don't get that easily, because to get in over here you will really have to work hard. Now that you've got, and later on if you say that, oh, I don't like this, this was never my choice, I just gave it for the heck of it, you know what, you have actually taken a seat of someone else who deserved more than you. So to avoid that, they will ensure that you cannot change. So which is why you are supposed to rank your universities very smartly. And if you're not sure of how to rank and all, we're not going to get into the details of it right now, but yes, we at Kaplan and LogicWest, we're always here to help you and support you, to tell you how to apply, how to present, interviews and matching and everything that we will be helping you with, right? So this is the application process. The results would be typically out by the third Friday of March. So we have sent the applications in the first half of September in the previous year, and the results are going to be out in mid-March or the third week of March of the subsequent year, and your residency in the US would start typically on the 1st of July of the same year, right? So that is how your application process would go on. Now this is the fourth cut that we discussed. Very important, rankings decided. So how do you rank the universities, based on which you are going to get a yes or a no, or rather where you're going to get absorbed in one of the hospitals or universities. That is purely based on the rankings that you are going to decide about your universities. All right. Now this is all about the timeline for international medical graduates, also famously known as the IMGs. Currently all of us are in the med school awaiting our degree, which is the MBBS. When you prepare or to start preparing for the USMLEs with Kaplan, the average timeline which is taken for any student, no matter is a scholar or an underperformer, the average timeline taken is about 9 to 12 months. So that is how long the USMLE takes for the preparation of step 1. Now when we are talking about the preparation timelines, this is considering that you are studying non-stop as if you don't have any other job on this planet. But we also understand that you are going to be busy with your college lectures, assignments, and if you're into the college, then postings and all of those things. So that equally is going to divide the time, or rather that would multiply the time, I would say. So this 9 to 12 months could be more if you are a student, and let's say you're an intern or already passed out, then probably it will take less time because you don't have any other activity to do during the day. If you're supposed to start study for the step 2 CK, on an average it takes not more than 4 to 6 months, and there are reasons behind it. but I don't want to get into the reasons right now. But yes, typically step 1 is the longest. It takes a lot of time because that's the toughest exam as compared to the step 2 CK that has more subjects. Step 2 CK has less subjects. Step 1 is all about paramedical, which we have studied in the first year and second year, whereas step 2 CK is like fresh, where we've just studied in the final year, and internship year is when we know it's very fresh in our mind. So there are a lot many reasons why step 2 CK takes a lesser time. Step 2 CS on the contrary takes about 1 to 2 months, not more than that, because it's a practical exam. You go to the US, take a short course for 4 days, appear for the exam, and then you're done. So totally 5 days is what is required, with some buffer time for revision also, about 1 month, maximum 2 months, not more than that. So that's all about the basic 3 examinations which are mandatory in nature. That is the step 1, step 2 CK, and the step 2 CS. After these 3 examinations are done, I told you that you will receive an Ecfmg certification from Ecfmg stating that you're done with all the 3 examinations. Once that is done, then there is this matching process which happens in the month of September and goes on right until the mid-March or the 3rd week of March, till the time your results are out. That is the matching process in that. After which you start your residency in the US, which is anywhere between 3 years to 6 years. Right now in India, it is like everything, MD, MS, everything is flat 3 years, but in the US, different specialties would demand different timelines. Okay, we have a chart on the timelines specialty wise. We'll discuss that soon. Now there's one examination here which is called as the step 3 examination. It's an optional examination. When I'm saying optional, the option is not whether to take it or not, but the option is you take it before you fly down to the US, or you take it after you have started your residency. You start it parallelly. That's the choice. So that's completely up to you whether you want to take it first or you want to take it later. But I would rather say or suggest that let's take that as a situational call. If you think your scores aren't really impressive and you want to add some more limelight to your profile, then probably you can take a step 3 first to strengthen your profile. Or if not, then what you could do is, you can, if you think everything is fine, you can go there, start your residency, and while you're in the second year of residency there, you can start taking the step 3 examination. That's absolutely fine. But the only difference is, if you go to the US basis the step 1, step 2 CK and step 2 CS, then you will compulsorily have to go only on a J1 student visa. Alright, J1 student visa meaning you've gone to the US, 3 years of internal medicine is done, you got your license, and everything is done. Tata bye bye, come back to India. You don't have a choice. But if you think no, I do not want to come back to India, I want to stay there, I want to continue working there, I want to mint more money, in that case you will need a H1 work visa, and that only, my friends, a step 3 can give you. So if you have a step 1, step 2 CK, step 2 CS and a step 3, and then you apply for a match, you can still do that. I told you. In that case, you can apply directly on a H1B work permit visa. There is no other visa which is available for you guys, but a H1B work permit is definitely the visa which will help you, and that also makes you eligible to work in the US after your residency is completed. Right? I hope that clarifies the situation. Now, this is exactly what we have discussed so far. Month-wise calendar, I can request you to take a screenshot of this particular slide, which talks about which month, what you're exactly supposed to do. And so okay, fine, June is when you take the tokens, August, September is when you start submitting your applications, October to January is your interview season, February is when you submit your ranks for the universities, mid-March is when the results are out, and July is when the residency begins. Right? Now moving on, this is a quick snapshot for you guys to know and understand the success ratio of the international medical graduates. This year in 2020, when the results were out, we had an all-time high in the history of NRMP, where the international medical graduates actually had a success ratio of 61.1%. Right? So that's a real big and great number, which means out of 10 people applying, 6 people are getting in. Initially, when we began the session, we spoke about In India, the ratio is 1:8 or even 1:10 in a few scenarios. But in the US, it's all right in front of you. Out of every 10, 6 people are getting sucked into the US residency, which is a great number. And I can also tell you the history or historical data for the last 10 years. See, 10 years back in 2010, for the non-US IMGs, it was way low. It was almost 39.8%, right? Slowly and steadily it has grown, and as of now it is almost 61.1%. Whereas the US IMGs also, if you see, it has dipped, because 10 years back there was a huge gap between the US IMGs and the non-US IMGs. But now US IMGs are at 61%, whereas the non-US IMGs are 61.1%, which is more than the US IMG. What's an US IMG? A US citizen or a green card holder but studying outside the US becomes a US international medical graduate. And non-US IMGs are who are not of the US nationality, neither are they of nationality nor they are studying in the US, or non-US IMG. So most of us would fall into the non-US IMG category, and you can see the whooping success ratio in the last 10 years, and that's how it is increasing, and it's really a great number, or a jump is what I can definitely say, right? This is equally important. If you would want to take a screenshot of this, you should. This is one of those screens or slides that you cannot afford to miss. Take a screenshot of this, which talks about average score specialty wise. For which particular specialty, what the average US MLE scores required, so you know based on which you can set a target for yourself. But one important thing, do not get fooled when I'm saying these kind of scores, because otherwise you might be popping out of your seats and saying, yay, general surgery only 244, great, I can definitely get it out of 280. But that's not it. This is an average score, which means a few of them, and it's a mixture of everything, which is why this is an average. Again, if I have to suggest you as a subject matter expert, I would suggest, if you're looking out for something like family medicine, internal medicine, pediatrics and psychiatry, you should be targeting nothing less than 240 each, which is a step 1 240, step 2 CK 240, nothing less than that. Then you would be in a safe position. If you're looking out for a mid-tier like OBGYN or radio, anesthesia, neurology, then you should be aiming at least at about a 250, nothing less than that. And if you're looking out for general surgery, then about nothing less than 255 or even 260 in a few cases is definitely going to put you in a good case, right? Don't even target 255. I take my words back. I would rather recommend at least aim for a 260, and that should put you in a safe place if you're looking out for surgical branches, right? Similarly, neurosurgery, plastic surgery, about a 265, 270, get that kind of score. I can definitely say the seat could be yours, subject to everything falls in place. So these are the average scores, but at least you get an idea. So have these scores handy with you if you're looking out for one. Now, out of the step 1, step 2 CK and step 2 CS, especially the third year, final year and the intern students, this is for you who are planning to take the examination either this year or latest by December of next year. If you have a 250 plus on your step 1, it is a proven fact. It is a proven fact that if you have a 250 plus on your step 1, you have more than 85% chances of matching, right? Because sometime back I told you, out of the step 1, step 2 CK and step 2 CS, step 1 is the most important and most crucial, most competitive exam. Step 1 exam is set by the PhD doctors. Step 2 CK exam is set by the MD doctors. So you can imagine, if you can crack an exam like a step 1 exam, then step 2 CK is like way easier for you, which is why. And if you can crack that, which means even the doctors there would salute you that yes, you are really a capable person who can crack step 1, a tough one, with this kind of a score, which means you have the potential, you have the caliber, so doors are going to open for you automatically, which is why step 1, they keep on emphasizing again and again, and even I'm doing the same. We keep on emphasizing step 1 is the most important. Do not play around with it, right? Try to get the best possible score. Now you might say, why is he talking about step 1 when we've heard about some changes? Yes, you're absolutely right. We're going to discuss that. Now what's going to change? Step 1 is now going to move to a pass or fail pattern. So most of you might feel good about it. You might have some hearts popping out of you, but that's not how it is. Don't be overwhelmed with this change, because step 1, yes, it is certainly going to be a pass or fail as of now. As per the announcement which is made by what we talk about the Ecfmg people or the Usmle people, that it is going to change. As of now, the update is it is going to move to a pass or fail. Now we don't know whether they are going to revive this or extend this. Now this is going to come into the picture with effect from 1st of January 2022, right? And exam attempts right now are 6. Later on they will change, they will compress to 4 attempts. This is in a year. And right now, if you want, let's say for an intern student, you can start with a step 2 CS first. You can take step 2 later and then a step 1. My point is, you can take the examinations in any random order as of today. But once this change happens, it is mandatory that you will have to take a step 1 first before you take the step 2 CS. You cannot take the step 2 CS without a step 1. So those are the changes. Now these are all technical changes. How is it going to impact an international medical graduate? I'm sure you are more interested in knowing that. Now what happens, let's say there are 2 students, one who has passed, the other who has equally passed. Now, and I'm a program director, for example, I have 2 people in front of me. At the end of the day, both of them have passed. Now what do I do? But you also know, let's say for example, student A has secured a 250 and he has passed, and student B has barely got a 194, which is a borderline score, and he's equally passed. Don't you think it is definitely going to be it's not easy for the one who's got a 250 on his profile, because he's slogged so much, he's studied so much, and then he's passed, and the one who's just done nothing and just by fluke or something he's got a 194 is equally passed. Now 2 such people are going to compete with each other, but for me as a program director, both of them appear to be passed in that particular examination. What am I supposed to do? Which is why your step 1 scores as of today, we keep on urging the students. Now I don't want to appeal this to the first year and second year students, because you're not eligible for that, because by the time you complete all your requirements, you will be in 22 already. But at least for those students, third year students, or even second year final semester students, if you can, and if you're serious about USMLE, and if you can, our appeal to the students is try and take the step 1 examination in the current format, in the current pattern, which is a 3-digit score, because at least you can prove your worth by the 3-digit score. Once you get mixed in the pool of pass and fail, you will not be noticed anymore, and that is going to be a biggest drawback, right? The entire load of identifying you as a potential student will now be shifted, the onus will be shifted to your CV. Now you tell me, you've got such hectic schedules, do you think you will be able to make wonders in your CV? Like you've got some what should I say some kind of research, some kind of publications, some kind of project, some kind of leadership activities, some kind of social activities, work for NGOs and stuff like that. Do you think you may get that kind of time? If yes, maybe you're an exception, and please go ahead and do so, because that is definitely going to fall into your daily course of schedule, and especially the first years and second years. By default, by the time you're going to get eligible, it's going to be 2022 at least, which is going to be the pass fail pattern by then. So what I would want the first years and second years to do now is, in your early years itself, get associated with some kind of social activities, because later on your schedule or your studies are not going to allow you to do that. So if you can get associated with a Rotary Club, Lions Club, Cry Foundation, or Red Cross, or these kind of NGOs I mean, these are just a few names. It's not that you have to get into a branded stuff only. Any local NGOs is also going to help you. All you got to do is just need a letter that yes, I have worked for an NGO. I have given my time to the social activities. I have donated my time for social causes. That is what is important, because community service is one of the most important factors that these program directors look for in a particular profile. Now, once you get into the third year, final year, trust me, guys, it's going to be very difficult for you to, devote time for such activities. Right now, you're just in the first years and second years. Go ahead and give your time. If you're an intern also, and if you can, especially those who are listening to me right now, try and get associated with some kind of social activities, right? And while you're in the second year and thereafter, if you can start with some projects, some research, please do so. And especially when you're in the final year internship, try and get those published. Trust me, your profile, your CV will get an exposure almost 10 times, 20 times the exposure which you may not have even thought of. So that is going to be one of the most important element of your CV, and which is going to be the prime focus for the program directors. So start working on these parameters or composites to your CV. That is very important. Now again, most of you might come back to the clinical rotations. Don't worry, clinical rotations, even if you don't want, I will certainly push you to get those, but not now. Just don't get it randomly anytime that you wish to. There's always a good time, and the good time is either during the internship year, go to the US, give your step to CS, stay back for 2, 3, 4 months depending on the time, energy and money that you have. Solicit some more letters of recommendation, get some more US experience. The local experience helps them that yes, this person has worked in my healthcare system, he's coming from a different healthcare system, he is well acquainted with my healthcare system. That really helps. So that is equally one of the element, but that is going to come in the last stage. Right now, let's start with small things, which is certainly going to contribute to the attributes of your CV. That's very important. How will this change affect the IMGs? That's exactly what we discussed. After this change, other factors will likely increase in importance for students, increasing importance for their competitiveness in this match. So step 2 CK score is the next thing that they would look into. Well, they are looking into right now as well, but later on it is definitely going to be of more importance. Step 3 score. Now, if you've not taken a step 3 right now, I told you some time back, it's an option. But if the situation demands, we don't know what's going to happen 2 years down the line, but if the situation demands, then step 3 as of today is not a very common thing. But you never know, step 3 later could become a very common thing, just like a step 1 or a step 2 CK. So our prediction is step 3 score will also have some more attention in order to tag you as a qualified student or not. Number of attempts. Now you've passed the step 1, but was that in the first attempt, second attempt, third attempt? That is equally going to be taken into consideration. Well, it is considered now as well, but again, as I said, later on this particular parameter will be more glorified. They will be looking into it in much detail. Academic performance in the medical school. Right now they are not looking into it much, because Usmle score, which means you're a great personality, great student, but later on it's just a pass or fail. I told you 194 is also pass, 250 is also pass. So how great are you? So let's prove that through your academic performance in medical school. So start focusing on that as well. US clinical experience, we spoke about it. You're going to go to the US, you're going to solicit letters of recommendation and take some experience about 3, 4, 5 months as well. Years of medical school graduation. How long back did you graduate? 2 years back, 1 year back, 5 years back, depending on how old a graduate you are, it would completely be taken into consideration. So the older a graduate, they may not they may not like that. So the fresher the graduate, it's better for you, right? Sorry. Right. So these are a few students who've really done well using Kaplan, and Dr. Manasa, she has to write some beautiful things about Kaplan, how Kaplan helped her. She got a 250 in step 1 and a 257 in step 2 CK. Dr. Manish got a 252 in his step 2 CK as well. Dr. Anitha R got a step 2 CK 252 she as well. Dr. Manik Madan scored at step 1 260. So that's how people have really done wonders using Kaplan as a whole, right? Now let's get into the last segment, which is understanding the USMLE examination. So let's begin with the first exam, which is the basic science exam, step 1 exam. Step 1 is all about understanding the basic sciences of your first years and second years, which are divided into 8 main disciplines: anatomy, physiology, biochem, patho, micro, pharmac, behavioral science. Micro is further subdivided into micro and immuno, which is why there are 7 subjects and 8 main disciplines, which is micro and immuno. You can take this exam anytime after the second year of med school. That's what we discussed. The high yield topics out of all these 7 subjects and 8 disciplines are your 3 Ps, which is your patho, pharm and physio. Focus on these 3. I guess you should be in a good shape to clear your USMLEs. The high yield topic are 3 Ps, and the total questions that you would be facing is about 280 questions, which are divided into 7 blocks of 40 questions or 40 items each. It's a 7-hour long exam plus 1 hour break is equal to 8-hour long exam. Now that's the catch over here. All of us are so used to a 3-hour, 3.5-hour pattern that all of a sudden, if you're being asked to work on a 7-hour pattern, it is definitely going to be cumbersome, because your mind body is not trained and tuned as per the pattern of step 1, which is why it takes about 9 to 12 months. Once you're tuned, which is why step 2 CK doesn't take that long, because you're already used to a 7-hour pattern, which is why step 2 CK takes a lesser time. But 7 hours, the first attempt is definitely very cumbersome, so you will have to practice a lot. You will have to give all that, you'll have to adjust yourself according to the pattern, sit for long hours, initially sit for 2-3 hours, then make it to 4-5 hours, 6-7 hours. That's how you'll have to keep on increasing, which is why it also takes time. So there are so many things that you're supposed to do parallelly: work for NGOs, study for USMLEs, sit for long hours. That's how USMLE is going to, take you through turns and turns. The minimum passing as of now is 194 from 22. We're expecting this to be pass or fail. Exam fee for step 1 is $1,125, which is roughly around 77 to 80,000 rupees, or maybe more. So yeah, 80,000. Now that is 75 rupees. Yeah, 85,000 rupees. So it's an expensive exam. We cannot just give random shots to it. We have to ensure that we are well prepared, and only then we appear for the USMLE exam. As of today, if you fail, you can reattempt, but if you've passed, then you cannot reappear for the next 7 years. But in the pass fail, once you've passed is passed. So this particular parameter may not be relevant later on. The average handling time per question is 85 to 90 seconds. So those are like lengthy questions, and we also have to ensure that within those 85 to 90 seconds we understand the patient, we diagnose, and we come to a particular consensus and answer that particular question. The question type is a clinical vignette format, so all questions are going to be clinical based. So you will no more get subjective questions like write a short note on this or write merits and demerits of that. That's not going to happen. It's all clinical based. So you will need to know your patient well, you will need to know your diagnosis well, which is how you will have to study to that extent. You'll have to practice a lot so as to ensure that you have the best particular preparation done before you appear for the exam. Moving on to the next exam, that is the step 2 CK exam. Step 2 CK is all about the clinical knowledge, which is all about the final year syllabus. You will have 5 main disciplines. That's your internal medicine, pediatrics, psychiatry, OBGYN and surgery. The high yield subjects this time are going to be internal medicine, which is 60% or more, and it's MCQ based again. So you will have a total of 318 questions in your step 2 CK. It's an 8-hour long exam. Now, do you remember your step 1, how long it was? It was 7-hour long exam plus a 1-hour break. This time it's an 8-hour long exam plus an additional 1 hour of break, which means you will have to again look into it and ensure that you now are able to sit for 9 long hours for your step 2 CK examination, right? While we've seen the minimum passing for step 1 was 194, this time it is now 209, right? Now, although the step 1 will now soon be changed to a pass or fail, but step 2 CK will still remain a 3-digit score. So again, a 240 plus kind of a score is what you should be aiming at if you're looking forward for the best possible opportunity in the US. Okay. Exam fees is slightly higher, just about $20 more. That's about $1145. That's the step 2 CK requirement. Moving forward to the step 2 CS. Now this is a different exam than what we have discussed so far in the step 1 and step 2 CK. Step 1 and step 2 CK is a theoretical exam. It is a computer based exam. It can be taken from one of the Prometric centers. If most of you are from South, you will have three centers in the South. One is in Hyderabad, one is in Chennai, and one is in Bangalore. We have one in Mumbai. We have one in Allahabad, Delhi, Kolkata. So that's how it is spread across the country. So you can just choose one of your closest center and go and appear for the exam there. The beauty of the exam is administered 365 days a year. Every single day there is an exam, minus the Sundays and minus the national holidays. Otherwise you can give the exam anytime that you wish to. So you're not dependent on a particular date. Today you feel you're confident, you immediately fill out the form, take the closest date, go and appear for the Usmle exam for step 1 and step 2 CK. However, for the step 2 CS, it's a practical exam, and of course neither the Indian doctors nor the Indian patients are the ones basis which you're going to be assessed. It is the US. So you will have to go to the US, and on the exam day, on your screen you can see that this is how your exam hall setup is going to be all about. Just like a hospital setup is what you have, and on the exam day you are expected to encounter 12 simulated standardized patients. The outcome of this exam is either a pass or a fail. Just like the step 1, how it is going to be from 22, it's going to be this now also, and later on also it is going to remain a pass or fail exam. You don't get any score for that. So during the exam you will be getting 15 minutes for patient encounter, as you can see in image number 2, and you will get 10 minutes for entering patient notes into the computer, as you can see in image number 3. So now the best part is you are going to be evaluated by the patients themselves. So these patients that you see on your screen number or image number 2 here, these patients are not the live or real patients. They are dummy patients, but they are not any other dummy patients. They are professionally trained theater actors. So these patients are the ones who are going to grade you whether you've done your role play. I would rather say it's a role play. Have you done it properly or not? That is what they are going to assess you on. So do not take them lightly. They are well professionally trained. Rather, the only difference between them and you is you have a degree, they don't have a degree. Otherwise they know medicine more than what you know. That's how they are trained, right? Now during the 15 minutes of patient encounter, you will see over here, you will be graded upon by the patient on 3 parameters. One is the ICE or the integrated clinical encounter. Second is the CIS or the communication and interpersonal skills. And third is the SEP or the spoken English proficiency, right? Now what is integrated clinical encounter? It's all about understanding the patient case scenario well, the proper diagnosis, and giving them the right solution, right prescription, tests, whatever it is. You do the right thing in the right spirit, right manner. That's all is covered under the ICE. Under the CIS, it's when a patient comes to you, it's not always about just diagnosing the patient and get lost. The next patient, please. That's not it's all about. It's like how do you calm the patient down? How do you build a rapport with the patient? If the patient is depressed, how do you show the empathy, sympathy, all of those? So that is rapport building. That is all of those external parameters will be covered under the CIS or the communication and interpersonal skills, right? I hope you get my point. And lastly, the spoken English proficiency. Earlier there was TOEFL exam which was required, but now TOEFL exam is not required because under the SEP your English skills are equally tested, so you don't need to give a separate TOEFL exam or an IELTS exam. It's not required. Okay. Now these 3 parameters put together will give you either a pass or a fail. That's what you will have to be very careful about. And if you clear these 3, that's fine, but you need to ensure doctors must pass all sections in order to obtain a pass. And the exams in the US, can be given in only one of these 5 locations, which is Philadelphia, Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Houston. The exam fee for Step 2 CS is $1,600, and whenever you go to the US, you have to compulsorily go only on a visitor's visa, which is also known as a B1, B2. There is no other visa which is available for you to go to the US. So one of the important tasks, not now but during your internship years, is apply for a B1, B2 and be ready. Last minute, we don't want the running around, you don't get the interview slots, or unfortunately your visa got rejected. We don't want such things. So be ready with such things, right? The last exam that we're going to cover is the Step 3 exam. We're not going to get into the details of it because that's the last thing. Let's at least start off first, but just to give you a quick glimpse of the Step 3, it is all about the patient doctor management. It's a 2 days exam, unlike the Step 2 CK, which was a 9-hour long exam. This time it's a 2 days exam. On day 1, you go and attempt 233 multiple choice questions, right? And on day 2, you again go to the same exam hall and attempt the balance 180 questions, and also 13 CCS. Now, what's a CCS? In Step 2 CS, what we've seen a slide before, the patient is face to face. Step 2 CS, which is clinical skills, face to face. Here, to the same CS, one more C is prefixed over here. Now the same CS becomes a CCS, and this C stands for computer. So it's computer case simulations. So a simulator is given to you, patient scenario is there on your computer, and then you start off. And depending on how many patients that you've saved and how many you've killed, you pass the exam or you fail the exam. 196 is the minimum passing for the Step 3 examination, and the exam fee for Step 3 would be $830. Step 3 would be administered by a third party body called as the Ecfmg. Please remember, Step 3 does not come under Ecfmg because it's a state based licensing exam. So Ecfmg, which is like a filtering body, will not be administering this. You will have to apply to FSMB, which is the Federal State of Medical Board. You apply to them, and through which you then decide, okay fine, I want to be in California or New York or Chicago or Florida, whatever it is. And then you will have to apply to that state board, which is administered by the Federal State of Medical Board, that's the FSMB. One good news that I can give you about Step 3 is, this is not a competitive exam. This exam is given just for the heck of it, for you to get a license. So even if you give the Step 3 exam and even if you score a 196, that's more than sufficient. You're not going to compete with someone. They just need to see whether you've passed the Step 3 or not, right? So that's the Step 3. It's like the same Step 1 or Step 2 CK questions are taken a step deeper. So you can imagine the kind of questions which would be, that you'll be getting in the Step 3 examination. So that's all about Step 3, right? Additional steps to strengthen your match application. Some time back we discussed about obtaining the US clinical experience. Why do you gain that? Obviously you have to get exposure to the US patients, acquiring skills required for the patient care, and work in the US hospitals, because you are so used to working in the Indian hospitals that now you need to get that kind of exposure, which is why you go and do the clinical experience in the US. Then you also get the letters of recommendation from the US hospitals. That's one of the important factor. Next is you improve your communication and interpersonal skills to handle and talk to a patient. Networking connection in your specialty, because when you're in the US, and let's say you are into the pediatric department, you come across 100 more pediatricians. So that networking and connections also helps you while you're applying for the US universities or hospitals. You prove your interest and commitment into a particular specialty. You also learn about clinical practice, how to maintain electronic records, hospital administration, life cycle of a hospital, life cycle of a patient, everything that you learn, which is why it is very important for you to work in the US hospitals. But when I'm saying work, not like a job that you do it for months and years. 2 months, 3 months is like sufficient time. You don't have to do more than that, and that should put you into a good shape, right? I don't want to get into the details of it, but if you're more interested in getting to know more about the volunteering opportunities to enhance your CV while sitting at home, you can visit these websites: American College of Physicians or the International Medical Volunteers Association, free clinics, and try to gain some more information of how to solicit a position for volunteering opportunities. If sitting at home you can get one, nothing like it, take a screenshot and we move ahead while you can do this research on your own on how to apply, where to apply, by visiting these websites. Similarly, I would also want you to take a screenshot of this particular link that has been pasted onto the slide here. This will give you some more opportunities for research per se if you are interested in doing one. So a lot of information is given on this particular link. In case, the link keeps changing year to year. In case if you think it's not working or so, you can just get back to us, or you can also Google simultaneously. You should get some. Right, now choose your programs wisely. What you need to do is check your weightage of your entire profile, where competitiveness, board scores versus the number of attempts, check into your clinical experience, check the years of graduation, letters of recommendation, languages that you have speak or you've spoken, extra languages that you've learned or something like that. And also weigh the competitiveness of your desired specialty. Evaluate the relative competitiveness of the geographic location. So let's say you want to get into Nevada, or you want to get into California area. Try to look into the geographical location as well. How many IMGs are already there? So all of this information is very important, because if let's say you select one of the geographical location in the US where there are very few IMGs, then I guess that would be a wrong way or approach of selecting your geographical location, because then what happens is your competition is high, and you also then know that okay fine, this location is not IMG friendly. When you know it's not IMG friendly, then why do you want to even consider that? So that kind of homework is very much important. Okay, so those are the couple of things that I can definitely tell you over here. Some bonus tips: do not underestimate your step to CS. It is really important. Try some Coursera medical certification courses to improve your CV. The website or the link is again given onto your link. And very important is, if you want to consider registering with the API, also known as the American Association of Physicians of Indian Origin. So there's a website which is apiusa.org. So just try and register there and solicit some more opportunities if you want to improve your CV. So these are just bonus tips from our side that we wish to give to our students, because attending their conferences, networking with their peers also helps in enriching your CV. Now we've spoken enough about the paper pattern, the bodies which are involved, timelines which are involved, etc. Where do I begin? If you are interested and you want to know how do you begin, the first wise thing that any medical student can do here is take a diagnostic exam. Oh, exam. Listening to the word exam itself may have taken you a feedback. Oh, why is he asking us to, get into the nightmare again? We are running away from exams and he's asking us to take exams. Don't worry. Yes, there's nothing to worry over here, because this exam is nothing but a litmus test, I would say, because by taking this exam, you understand your strengths and your weaknesses. If you've ever visited or seen posters of an obesity clinic or a skin clinic, there's a before and after photographs that they paste. That's exactly how a diagnostic exam works for you. In a diagnostic exam, it is expected that a student should take a diagnostic exam as a raw student. First years, I wouldn't really recommend this for you, but second year and onwards, I would recommend take this examination as a raw student without preparing and without even touching any book. What worse can happen? You tell me. You tell me what worse can happen. At the most, you will end up with a 0. That's fine. At least you know that I'm on a 0 and 85% is my target, for example. Then this is how I will have to proceed. Or the best can happen is, okay fine, at least you scored a 30%. So you know, okay fine. So from a 30 to 85, there's a lag of about almost 50-55%. And how do I tackle that? Okay fine, this is my course of action, this is my plan of action, this is my time plan, etc. And at least it will help you to understand your strengths and weaknesses and make a time plan and a study plan. but please don't study for it and then take an exam, otherwise it will defeat the purpose, right? For example, if I'm going to a skin clinic and I'm applying kilos of foundation, how will the dermatologist be able to recognize what are my weak areas? So just go as a fresh person, as a raw student, take this exam. It will actually help you understand and analyze your strength and your weakness, and that score, my friends, will also act as a baseline score. So let's say, for example, you have scored, let's say, 25%. At any given point in time, even without your preparation, you can score a 25. So there's nothing to worry. You will never fall below a 25. But 25 is not our target. We now need to know how we can progress ahead. Maximize the resources which Kaplan will give you. Kaplan will give you textbooks, lectures, live, online, recorded, assessment tests, lectures, question bank. Just focus on solving more number of questions, and questions. That is what is required, and that's what is really important over here, right? And now this is your test day, this is your starting day, this is your test day. From day 1 till the last day, what you're expected to do is solve more number of questions, and questions. You read some books, solve questions, watch some videos, solve questions, take some quizzes, assessments, and solve questions. Take the live lectures or the live online lectures and solve questions. After you're done with the Kaplan course, take the NBME test. NBMEs are the National Board of Medical Examiners, which is nothing but the official body who will set your exam papers. So it's always good to go and visit those questions and their question papers and see how do you perform in their tests as well, right? So take those. So again, through taking those NBME tests, it will also help you in solving a few more questions. Now recently we had a Kaplan topper with the 274. When we asked him what's your success recipe, he just told, sir, before I could appear for my exam, I ended up solving 6,000 USMLE questions. So that's the kind of dedication, my friends, you need to have if you're aiming for that kind of a score. I mean, depending on your aim score, you can certainly set a target for yourself for solving those many questions. Initially, I told you I'll share a chart with you which talks about which specialty, what are the average US median scores which are required for you to get into that specialty, how many number of years you spend into that particular specialty. After you've completed your residency, once you've started working and earning, how many hours a week you would earn on an average, and across what's the start salary, average annual package or salary that you earn into that particular specialty. Now let's not waste time into this, but if you can just take a quick screenshot of this, I guess it should help you. You can evaluate this later on as well. This will also talk about which specialty, how many total number of positions are offered, what are the total number of applicants who apply against that specialty, and what is the percentage of non-US IMGs in that specialty who get sucked into those programs. That also you will get to know by this chart. So this is very important. Please take a screenshot of this as well. Right, last thing, why Kaplan and how Kaplan can help you. First of all, Kaplan has the world's greatest faculty. All our master faculties in the elite group are like MDs, DOs, PhD professionals who are working with us. We have a pool of about 120 plus faculties who are currently teaching in the topmost universities of the US, and they're also teaching with Kaplan. So you're not deprived of learning from those great faculties. You can, if you visit our website, you will see some demo lectures, so you will understand the quality of teaching. Even on YouTube, we have just recently, I guess about a week or 10 days back, we've uploaded one sample lecture of 2 hours. I guess it's biochemistry. Yeah, it's a biochemistry lecture. You can just go and watch that. You will definitely understand the quality of teaching of the Kaplan faculty members. There are 2 types of programs. One is go to the US and study, and the other is sit at home. Now, due to COVID, getting into the US currently may not be a good idea, but sit at home is definitely, that's what you'll be doing for your MBBS lectures as well. So sit at home and you study for the live or the live online on-demand lectures that Kaplan has to offer you, right? So these are the resources that you will be getting. You get the physical copy of textbooks, which is the lecture notes. You get 200 hours of on-demand videos or the recorded lectures. Diagnostic exam is what you get as a part of the the course that Kaplan has to offer. But apart from that, even if you don't want the course, you just want the diagnostic exam, you can still take that. I'll share the link towards the end of the session. You take the assessment exams, full length exams, everything that you get as a part of the Kaplan course. You also get a Q bank with 2000 plus exam like questions for practice purpose. These are the physical copy of textbooks, a picture of those. This is how you will be getting the lecture notes as well. Now I've taken a few screenshots of my question bank to show you how it works, or even the lectures, how it works. So when you log in, so I click on anatomy, and in anatomy, under the metabolism, let's say I want to watch a lecture of metabolic sources of energy and energy storages. There's a 29-minute video, and patterns of fuel metabolism in tissues is a 17 minutes video, plus there is a overall quiz based on metabolism. So I click here. So basically whatever that you want under metabolism, everything is over here in form of videos as well as questions or quizzes. Once the lecture starts, this is how your screen would look like. And when you take a question bank, or you solve some questions from the question bank, the beauty of Kaplan question bank is it's 100% customizable question bank that you get. So here I've clicked on cardiovascular, general principles, nervous and respiratory. I want questions only on these 4 topics. Here I can see those, and I want question type which are fresh, which is unused questions. I click over here, and difficulty type. Do I want easy questions? Do I want medium or hard questions? I can select accordingly and create a test, solve that test. Once the test is done, you can review your questions, organ-wise, system-wise, everything is given over here. Now, which currently it's not used, which is why it's showing as 0, but otherwise it will show you the percentage, how many correct, how many incorrect, everything that it will show you. Plus it will also give you a detailed report in terms of percentage, in terms of total number of questions, correct questions, incorrect questions, percentage, easy breakdown, medium breakdown, hard breakdown, system wise, organ wise, everything that it will give you. So by reading this report, you understand what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. You also have Kaplan medical advisors. If you were to go to the US, across the table is what you get advising, but over here on Skype call, WhatsApp call, Google Hangouts call, you will be getting medical advisors who will be patching up with you as per your requirement online and guiding you, hand holding you too. Now these medical advisors are the ones who've taken their USMLEs. Most of them are doctors, so they know exactly how to do, what to do. So they will suggest you a study plan, time plan, and accordingly just follow them blindly. I guess you should be in a good shape. They'll actually tell you, okay fine, today's what, 25th of July, study first chapter and second chapter of anatomy. 2nd August, okay fine, study second chapter of physiology. 15th of September, study 10th chapter of let's say pathology. So that's how they will also tell you in between, now take a test, show me your results. They will give you a feedback on the results. So that's how medical advisors would be helping and studying, helping you study, working with Kaplan, right? These are some success stories where people have got matched, and on the match day they say, hey, I got matched, I matched. That's how they enjoy. Now please do make a note of this. If you want to take a free diagnostic test, this is the link, short link to it. Fill up the form within 24 to 48 hours along with the Med Essentials ebook. You will also be getting a link for the diagnostic test, a free diagnostic test. Let me emphasize on the word free diagnostic test. So please do take this if you want to evaluate, if you want to get a feedback on your test performance. You can get in touch with us. I will personally evaluate and give you a feedback on your test performance, and also give you a further course of action plan, study plan, everything depending on what your scores are. I've personally answered more than 350 plus questions or queries that medical students have on Quora. If you're interested to know more, explore more, you can just follow me on Quora. This is my Quora short link, and you will get to know more about the deep core of the USMLE world questions that I've answered. We do many such events. Right now, if you're on YouTube, if you think you have liked this particular session, please do not forget to hit the like button, and your total number of likes will actually make me understand whether you've liked this particular session or not. So please do like. If you've not subscribed until now, please do subscribe our channel. There are many videos, and I'm not just sure, but I'm like sure, confident, and every particular adjective you can add. All the videos that we've uploaded on our YouTube channel are definitely informative. You can watch all those videos, and I'm sure it will help you. Last thing last is, please do take a screenshot of this. Keep our contact numbers handy. These are the locations that we have our presence in. You can just, currently because of COVID we are closed in these locations, but once we open up we are available everywhere. And these are also our phone numbers, email IDs, website, everything, right? So with that, I just announce this as the end of the session. However, before we end, if you have any questions, you may ask, and after that I guess we are like just done with this. Yeah, so can we take some questions if you have any? Right, so I have a student who has a question who says that non-US IMGs typically do not get surgical specialties. Now recently we had Dr. Deepak who got into general surgery. So I'm sorry, Dr. Anish, but I would want to say that the information that you've got is wrong. I wouldn't say it's 100% wrong, but I would definitely say it's partially wrong, because yes, it is certainly tough for the international students to get into surgery, but it is not impossible. And why so? I would just like to give a very small explanation to that. One is, the total number of seats which are available for surgical branches are less in number as compared to medicine seats. So if you see in medicine, like there are 7,500, 8,000 seats which are available for internal medicine, whereas for surgery, general surgery, it's about 1,300 or 1,500. So total seats are less, number one. Number two, let's assume for a minute that out of 1,500 seats, 1,000 seats are given to international medical students and 500 students are given to the local students. Okay, and out of those 1,000 students, 200 students stay back in the country and 800 students come back to India, and then they start their private practice or work for some hospitals or whatever it is. Now technically what has happened, end of the 5 years, because general surgery is a 5 years program, after the end of 5 years, despite having 1,500 seats, how many seats did they secure, or how many surgeons are they left with? Only 700. Now what have these 800 people, when they came back to India, what has US got out of them? They gave free education for 5 years, they gave them stipends for 5 years, they gave them a specialty degree of surgery, and then they flew back. US is left with nothing. Which is why, to ensure that, to maintain a minimum threshold that was, come what may, I want at least about 1,000 or 1,200 surgeons with me every year. That is the minimum security that I want for my country. And then rest of the seats you can give it to the international students. If they stay, good for us. Even if they go back, at least I have 1,200 surgeons with me, so my patients will not be suffering over here. That is the basic understanding, and which is why they have to give first preference to their local students. And I'm sure even you would agree with me that that's how it should be. Even in India also we do the same. We will be giving first preference to our local citizens, and then if there's anyone coming from other countries to India for studying, we can of course give them the leftover seats, but not the core seats. So that's the basic funda that every country would follow. So I don't think there's something wrong in it, right? Any possibility of Kaplan sponsoring the exam fee, flight ticket, accommodation for attending steps in the US? Well, we have all the facilities, but sponsoring is the wrong word, I would say. Everything is paid till the time you get into the residency. Otherwise, once you're in, then all the cost is recovered in the first 6 months only. If the student concerned has some merit, well, you can always check with your local offices, Kailash Nathan, and if there's anything, there's maybe that can be considered. But I don't want to comment right now before knowing the basic facts. I have Dr. Ajit who asks, for which subjects do we need to focus on CV specifically? Well, again, if you first, I would recommend that first you decide what specialty you want to get into, and then start working into that particular field, because that will be much better. Because if you want to get into OBGYN, but you are getting opportunities into pediatrics, and you've got loads of things that you've done on your CV into pediatrics, and one fine day you're just sitting in front of the program director of OBGYN and he's saying, okay, fine, if you're so interested in OBGYN, why is your CV filled with pediatrics? Then that would not be a very healthy sign in front of the program director. So I would recommend that first decide your specialty and then start working on it. That would be a way better approach of getting into it, right? As a first year student, what can we do to improve our CV? Right now, just two things. Start with your USMLE prep, because that's not that an easy exam that you think it is. And while you're studying for your step 1 and you're parallelly studying for your MBBS, so anat, physio, biochem, these 3 subjects, keep on shuffling the books. Go to BD Chaurasia, come back to Kaplan, or maybe go to Guidance, come back to Kaplan's, and just shuffle those, because although you will shuffle the books, there would be 2 books, but topics at the end of the day is going to remain the same. So if you are studying hard right now, so irrespective you're studying it from BD Chaurasia or you're studying it from Kaplan Anatomy, it's definitely going to remain the same, no matter it's CVS, CNS, or blood tissue, lungs, heart, whatever you're studying, it's going to remain the same. So the concept wise, it is definitely going to help you. It will help you in your MBBS exams also. It will also complement your USMLE preparation also. And then second year, when you're into the second year, study your patho, micro, and pharmac parallelly. So that's how it will complement your studies equally, right? Is that for peds and intermedicine working on CV not very important? Well, everything is important, so let's not take anything for granted that if I'm doing this, that is important, and if I'm doing something else, that is not important. That's definitely not the case. So everything is important. Start working on it irrespective of your specialty. Is US residency degree valid in India? Yes, it is definitely valid. When you come back to India, simply plug and play on day 1 without giving any examinations, and that's how it is. After next comes, I don't know if there's going to be any change by NMC. It is not announced yet, so I don't want to comment on future, but as of today, there's nothing. You can come and start working without anything. When are we supposed to do our US clinical experience? Is it necessary to do it during internship, or can it be done before our internship year? Now, before your internship year, my dear friend Kaushik, you're going to be in the final year. Is it practically possible for you to leave the country, leave your attendance, leave your postings for 2 months, 3 months and go to the US? I don't think so. And if you plan to do it before that in the 3rd year, now let's say before that you go into the 3rd year, and if you're posted into some, let's say either a dermat, or let's say you are into pediatrics or OBGYN or any posting, by then the subject that you are posted into, it's not covered in your college. So going before that would not be a healthy sign. In the final year is not a good time. So the only time which is available with you is the internship year, which is why we recommend internship. All right. So I hope that answers your question, Kaushik. Lastly, should we apply for multiple specialties at one go if we have multiple preferences? Niralsi, you can, however, you should not. Okay, I mean, just don't apply to 10 places with 10 specialties. Apply to 10 places with 1 specialty or max 2 specialties is fine, because one is your main option, other is your fallback option. But if you have 10, then your chances of getting absorbed will be too less. So let's try to have a permutation combination formula over here, and that's how it will help you. So again, to answer your question, Niralsi, you can, but you should not. Okay. What is the rough estimate of expense for traveling to the US for attending a subsequent steps, including flight cost, accommodation, everything? See, if I get into one costing, it would be difficult for you to know and understand. But just the step 1, step 2 CK, step 2 CS, including the flight cost, stay cost, everything, including Kaplan coaching, everything put together should be 10 lakhs or under 10 lakhs, not more than that. And then if you add your US clinical experience and other expenses, it would be another say 6 to 7 lakhs, and let's say another 3 odd lakhs for your application process, and again going for interviews and other things. So roughly under 20 lakhs, every damn thing is covered. Okay, so maximum to maximum which will be required with loose estimated cost is not going to be more than 20 lakhs from now till the first day of residency, every expenditure included, right? Should we segregate the US medical institutes for application? I haven't understood your question. Segregate the US medical institutes for application. I haven't. Can you just rephrase your question, Lakshmi? Please list which branches have higher selection rates for IMG. So, Arjit, I would say pediatric psychiatry, internal medicine, family medicine. So these four are the ones which are IMG friendly. International medical graduates would get it very easily in one of these four branches, right? How many times can we give each step? So in a year, there's a max capacity or limitation of 4 times, right? So I guess Divyansh, that should answer your question. So all right, friends, I guess we have no more questions left to be answered. And if you're done with the questions, again, I would say thank you to all of you. If you've not liked this video, please do like it before we quit this session. And thank you all. You have a great evening. Please make a note of all our phone numbers. Get in touch with us. Start early. At any given point in time, you have any tough questions, difficulties, feel free to write into us or call us, and we'll be more than happy to help you and assist you, right? Before we just quit, one last question that Kaushik has, and then we'll end this session. Questions are floating in. I don't want to hold everyone back just for these questions. We're not supposed to do our internship or complete year, which college will accept. Okay, so if you're talking about Kaushik, if you're talking about 365 days, you're supposed to take a break in between for 60 days or 90 days, depending on how long you're going. After you come back, you work for those 60-90 days again and take an extension. While your friends, for example, if they finish in December, you might finish it in March, but that's fine. So there's nothing different that you're doing. It's a regular practice which every college and the students will follow. You owe them 365 days with a break, without a break. That's completely between you and the college, but that's absolutely fine, right? What if we clear all steps and fail to match? Now, yes, Ankit, that is very much a possibility that if you clear all the steps and you still fail to match, but there is something called as a SOAP program, and you can either qualify for that. In a SOAP in the same season, you can reapply for all the unqualified students and all the empty or vacant seats. They will do a SOAP program, which is called as a supplementary offer and acceptance program. You can apply for that and get try and get another opportunity for getting sucked in, or you can reapply next year, one of these two options. But again, as far as Kaplan student is concerned, we haven't really seen much of failures because all our expert teams are working on you with a lot of experience. So with Kaplan, I don't see this kind of possibility cropping up. All right. So thank you so much, Dr. Ankit, and all the students out there. It was a pleasure, having a discussion and